Kia
Kia
ora
ora.
koutou katoa. Ko Vaughan Rapatahana tāku ingoa, ka tīmata tēnei, hui me he karakia. Nera. So I'm Vaughan Rapatahana. I will start this hui with a karakia. E tō mato matua, kua rui ane o pura pura pai. Home e koe he nako ho, kia tupu aki ai, kia kitea ai na hua. Ake, 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 amene. I will briefly say that I was the co-editor of this fine anthology of languages spoken, written, and used diurnally within Aotearoa, New Zealand. A large number of languages are so used in the country, and this book is probably the first ever anthology of such languages, showing the wide range of multicultural, multilingual people in the country. The progenitor of this project is the fine Michelle Elvey, and I'll pass my comments over to Michelle now for a bit more about the background and the motivation and the continual momentum she propelled in this very important book. Michelle, the floor is yours.
Kia ora, Vaughan. Kia ora, everyone. Welcome. And it's really wonderful to see everyone gathered for this reading this evening. I think Vaughan and I worked on this book for at least 2 years. It was quite a while in the making. It originally came about because of a poster series that we came up with for National Flash Fiction Day, where we had the idea that it would be really neat to see on big Phantom Bill stickers posters around the country 10 small micros in different languages, because there's so many languages in Aotearoa, and we're really rich with cultural and multi-ethnic and deep histories that we all carry. So we did that a few years ago. I think that was 2022. And ever since then, we've been thinking about this book, and we worked on it. We assembled the contents for 2 years, and then eventually got ourselves to where we have this beautiful book, which is made by the Cuba Press. They think they did an outstanding job, I think, with the production and the design. It's really quite beautiful. The cover, which you all might know, but I'm going to share here, is by Maori artist Rihanna Robinson. And she actually was going to try to be here tonight, but she was unable to join us. So we had a nice email exchange, Rihanna and I, and I'm just going to read a few. She wrote me a couple comments in email, and these were just fired off an email, and I asked her if I could share them because they're really quite wonderful. So this is Rihanna Robinson's words and what she would have said if she'd been here tonight. She says, and I quote, "Those colonies whose mother tongue is now English rarely seem to support other languages seriously and are surprised by multilingual people. Those of us who are fortunate to travel know how important it is to at least learn basic phrases. And we also see how impoverished we are inside an education system that doesn't expect competency in multiple languages. Had I been able to participate in this Zoom, I would have spoken more of the wee artwork you chose for the cover, as it seemed to me to grace space for crossings and crossroads while appearing as X marking the treasure spot where languages fire the imagination. Everything and nothing, as well as where the surgeon cuts. Oceanic chaos." I love that idea of oceanic chaos, and it speaks a lot to the making of a book like this. It's a hefty anthology with more than 100 contributors, and yeah, there's a lot of work and chaos that goes into the background. But in the end, I really love how we're all sort of swimming in this ocean together, this sea of languages. So yeah, so it's really wonderful to have this gathering. Those of you in the room know this, but I'll share it for people who are tuning in. We had a number of readings. We had, I think, 7 readings all around the country in February and March, which is really wonderful. But of course, each reading geographically invites people who are in those spaces. And this book has people in it who live overseas, who were unable to come to the readings. So this gathering tonight of 10 readers is really, actually, I think we have 9 readers. Oh, 10, I think, including Vaughan. it's really wonderful because it brings people together into a space where maybe we've never all been in this space together. And I think it really speaks to the diversity and the expressiveness of our language and our histories and our cultural identities. So I myself, you all will know this, came to New Zealand in 2008. I'm a newcomer, but I do call Aotearoa my home, and very proudly so. So it's really a pleasure to work with all of you and the entire set of contributors, to work with Vaughan as an editor because he's a fantastic co-editor, and of course the team at Cuba Press who did an amazing job producing such a beautiful book. For people listening, I hope you enjoy tuning in and hearing our readers. We've asked each one just to introduce themselves as they go, and we have a reading order. And a really nice note, and the last thing I'll say here is that our starting reader is Cooke, and her piece opens the book. And our last reader in tonight's series is Piet Nieuwland, and his piece closes the book. So we have quite a nice bookend of our readers this evening. So with that, I will say thanks again to everybody and hand it over to you, Kay. Welcome.
Kia ora. I'm Kay Cooke, or Kay Mackenzie Cooke, and I live in Ōtepoti, Dunedin, the same city as Michelle. And I speak English, but I have daughters-in-law who speak Deutsch and Japanese, and also I'm Māori, I'm ka te Māmoe and Kaitahu. And so there's a little bit of the Māori, not as much as I would like. Of course, I wasn't brought up speaking te reo, but I'm getting to know a little bit about it through my sons and their children as well. So a little bit of language floating around my world. And my story is about that, about having daughters-in-law who speak a different language, who are bilingual, and then grandchildren who are also bilingual, and two sons who have become bilingual. My story is language as species. From my Te Reo dictionary, ki te tihorahanga Māori he ika te poraka. From a Māori worldview, frogs are classified as fish. Like me, a fish out of water, happily stranded in a garden in Germany nearby Blumen am Sommeronde by the Fischteich. The pigeons, die Tauben, in the nearby Taubenhaus, fliegen auf with a sudden clangor of wings. There is laughter, beer, and my youngest son translating the Deutsch in his in-laws speak. We easily recognize the word Prost, cheers, good health. They pour us eggnog, eierlikör. Nearby, on a 16th century church steeple, the resident stork, der Stork. Or in Japan, my oldest son, Musoko, translating the language his in-laws speak. Yoko neta, did we sleep well? And kanpai, as we all raise a glass of sake. Cheers, good health. In the garden, pumpkins, sweet potato, mushrooms, a kiwi fruit vine, and raspberries, raspberry. As well, a family shrine, centuries old and moon pale. My son points out a green frog, Kauru Midori. It sits, small, unmoving, blissfully unaware that it could also be a fish.
Kia ora, my name is Ghazaleh Gol. I was born in Tehran, Iran, but I grew up here in Tamaki Makaurau in Auckland, which is where I'm based currently. My language, my mother tongue is Farsi Persian. but I would say my first language is English because that's the language I learned how to read and write in. My piece is called A Love Poem in Persian English. My favorite poets are those from medieval Persia, Rumi, Hafez, and Jahan Malik Khatun, a woman poet who disguised herself as a man in order to write. They wrote odes to eternal love, to a creator, to another, to drink. I am the slave of love. Even modern sayings in Farsi are epic and seem to inhabit a poet's soul. Fadot Besha, I am willing to sacrifice myself for you. The more extreme, the more commonly used. Qorbunat Beram, I will destroy myself for you. Using anatomy is common, if absurd. Dilam, my heart, is not the sole place of love and romance. Sometimes it is nafasam, my breath, or even jigaram, my liver, the most vital organ, the one that destroys the toxicities of vice. Jigara to beram, I'll be your liver. I adore you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's John Gallas, and I'm saying good morning because I'm in Leicestershire in England, where it's raining, but the sun is due any time. I'm going to read a small poem called Kai Correro, which is a writer's tale, a sort of miniature murder mystery that does not get solved. And it's multilingual purely from a poetic point of view, that I was searching and searching for the right word at every point, and sometimes the right word lies within another language. So this is Kai Correro. Chapter 1, Odotahi. A flimsy cove descends a gangway, cockshut or something pretty near. Watch you bye-bye, says the cabin steward, but the little man is stumm. Chapter 2, Mushaboom. A crucky in a snow-dumped coombe sits humped and silent in the gloom. Refrigerated by the bed with half an irksa in his head lies Erd. The door is open wide on a wolf-pokied plain. Chapter 3, Tuton Mare. The row camp inquiry, viz. Steward's diary, SS Wanganui, Broom and Bluey, passenger list, Bonum Leo, moored, on or off board, carnal rot rates, dates ad litem, cui bono, blah, blah, blah. Chapter 4. Vasa Balagan. Gave up. Invention did not have the answer. Quiet passenger settled in Waimataitai. Broom and Bluey convicted of the Mushaboom killing. And what I really wanted was a holo holo in colour hail. Thanks.
Kia ora katoa. My name is Amanda Hurley. I'm an expat Wellingtonian and I'm ringing in from Saalfeld in Germany, which is a small town in the former East Germany. I've been here since 2009. There's a great line in a song. I can't remember which one it was, but it says, I can ask for sandwiches in 16 different languages. And I think a lot of us who've traveled in Europe can appreciate this. Delving into a second language as an adult has been a challenge, but I'm doing my best with German. So this is a small piece of a microfiction. It's entitled Maddie Olsen, and I'll read first in German. Der Regen ergießt sich in Satzen, als wäre der Himmel ein Buch. Die Wolken schütten sich von Worten frei. Maddie Olsen schläft am Feuer, ihr weicher Mund zuckt unverkürlich, wenn sie träumt. Sie ist wieder da. Dresden, eine Stadt wie ein zerrissenes Hochzeitskleid. Maddie stolpert durch die Ruinen, selbst der Geruch durchdringt ihren Traum. Als sie erwacht, die Augen noch immer getrübt vor Entsetzen, sind es Kleinigkeiten, die ihr die Rückkehr erleichtern. Kalter Tee, auf dessen Oberfläche sich Milchschwärbel absetzen. Eine Vase mit Rosen, die nach Verwesen duften, und meine Hand, die sich in ihre schmiegt. The rain is pouring down in sentences, as if the sky is a book and the clouds are shaking themselves free of words. Maddie Olsen sleeps by the fire, her soft mouth twitching involuntarily as she dreams. She is there again. Dresden, a torn wedding dress of a town. Maddie stumbles through its ruins, even the smell pervading her dream. When she wakes, her eyes still misted with horror, it is the small details that aid her return. Cold tea, milk settled into swirls on its surface, a vase of roses fragrant in decay, and my hand nestled in hers. Thank you.
Kia ora, everyone. I'm Yoshiko Teraoka. I'm calling in from Tokyo. Today, I grew up between Rotorua and Osaka. This creative nonfiction piece I'll be reading today explores the legacy of a modern art movement, abstract expressionism, and explores the limits of representation. I'll be reading it in English, followed by Japanese. The Violence of Abstraction. 77 minutes in the Rothko Room at the Kawamura Memorial DIC Museum of Art, June 2022. Lethal reds, deep maroons, and cadmium oranges congeal into an irresolvable mass above rusty red primer. Moving without consequence, marks repeat doors, windows, and shields. Tragedy, ecstasy, doom. He sought to express basic human emotions. They recall last week's news of a mass school shooting, 21 dead. But the red is surely not the same red smeared across her body, her best friend's blood. The maroon is not the same as those worn across their bodies in protest, still no accountability. Certainly not complementary to those green shoes held up in conference. And the orange ceases to be a sunrise, only a cruel contradiction, like voices repeating gun control, gun safety, gun reform, gun responsibility. 抽象化の暴力。2022年6月、DIC 川村記念美術館のロスコルームでの77分間。リソールレッド、深い赤茶色、カドミウムオレンジが暗赤色の血の上で溶けない塊へ変形していく。結果責任も負うことなく動く筆跡は、門、窓、シールドを繰り返し描く。悲劇、エクスタシー、悲運。彼は根本的な人間の感情を表現しているだけだという。先週の小学校乱射事件のニュースを想起させる。死者21人。しかし、その赤は彼女の体に塗られた親友の血とはきっと違う。赤茶色も抗議のために身につけた色とは違う。未だに責任を免れている。当然会見で投げかけた緑のスニーカーの捕食でもない。そして朝焼けの色は日の出ではなくなり、銃規制、銃安全、銃改革、責任ある銃所持と反復する声のように残酷な矛盾に過ぎなくなった。Thank you.
Buenos dias. Good morning from here in Spain. I'm sorry. My name's Charles Olsen. I'm from Nelson, but I've lived in Culfordon, in Dunedin and Wellington, and I've been in Spain since 2003. So I speak Spanish and English. And my story is, I'm going to read it first in Spanish and then in English. Casa vacía. Fue abducido por su familia. Murió su pareja, y cuando recuperó la fuerza, empezó a vaciar al piso. Durante el confinamiento por la pandemia, le hice compras de comida y medicamentos, lo cual me permitió paseos más largos por el barrio. Me confesó que no quería dejar la ciudad. Por el Parkinson perdió el tren y su hermano vino en coche a recogerlo días después. Desde la ventana de su piso se veía el edificio donde vivía Picasso en el año 1897. Su vieja aspiradora, que dejó para la mujer bangladesí que le cuidaba, espera al lado de mi puerta. Empty house. He was abducted by his family. He began to empty the flat. During the pandemic lockdown, I shopped for his food and medicine, which allowed me longer walks around the neighborhood. He confessed he didn't want to leave the city. Due to the Parkinson's, he missed the train, and his brother came for him a few days later by car. From the window in his flat, you could see the building where Picasso lived in 1897. His old vacuum cleaner, which he left behind for the Bangladeshi woman who looked after him, waits by my front door.
Kia ora, I'm Sharni Wilson. I'm from Kirikiriroa, Hamilton originally, and I'm calling in from London in the UK. So it's also the morning here. And I will be reading first in Japanese and then in English. The title of my story is Poster Child. クイーンストリートで屋根のないエリア、市役所の前を歩いていたら、ざーっと雨が降り出した。その途端、石畳はアイスリンクと化し、展示ブロックはスリップの危険性がある。案の定、足を滑らせてしまったけれど、なんとか平行感覚を保ち、転ばずに済んだ。馴染みのないオークランドは新鮮すぎて、その空気に戸惑っている自分がここにいる。日本で数年過ごした分、何らかのバランスが崩れていても仕方ない。ザーザー、びしょびしょ。いっそ転んでいたら、あの雨の感覚に安堵していたかもしれない。今の自分は倒れようが倒れまいがどうだっていい。だってここにいる私は本当の私じゃないもの。青手屋広場の木立のもと、雨の雫がフットに想像しく伝う。誰に言うつもりもないけれど、日本でなくしたの。だからここにいる。流れ着いた女、寿司屋の看板のそばで、ぐずついている変わり者。私はただ空に見上げて、口を開く。I'm walking down exactly the wrong part of Queen Street, by the town hall, when the rain smashes down, turning the stone pavers slick as an ice rink, the tactile paving an instant slip hazard. My feet slide, regain equilibrium. Auckland is new, strange. After many years in Japan, predictably, my balance shifted. The rush and plash of water. To fall could be a relief. Even if I fall, or whatever I do, it won't count. It's not my real life anymore. Drops splat on my hood under the trees by Aotea Square. What I tell no one is, I already fell. That's why I'm here, an odd remnant lingering by a sushi billboard now, a woman washed up. I look to the sky, open my mouth.
Kia ora from Waipapa. It's just outside of Kerikeri, Te Tai Takeroa, New Zealand. I'm Wolhakastuk, and I will start with introduction to my bilingual poem. Writing in a Belarusian language nowadays is an act of decolonization. Writing in Belarusian using not the official Cyrillic alphabet, but the Belarusian Latin alphabet, Latinka, is the protest. You write and you know that in Belarus you could be arrested and even killed for speaking Belarusian. And I need to keep my mother tongue loud so that people know that our language is alive. A time to gather oranges together. I climb the aluminium drabina. Every step repeat. 1, 2, 3. At the very top, I hold onto the tiniest galina on the tree. The bright hot orange among zelony leaves blinds me. I reach for it. Halinka bounces back, but I've got it. I touch thick, shurpati skin. I smell the apple from my grandmother's orchard. Green, yellowish, czerwony jabłek. Smooth, hard, a Pleiades of freckles. I listen, a 30-year-old crunch. I taste, the sugary juice running to my elbow. I hear the missing Rodney voice. Volechka, иди молока попей. I climb down the handmade wooden drabina and run to Hata to drink the warm молоко, because my babula has just milked the cow, whose name I can't remember. Thank you.
Kia ora. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Can everybody hear me? Yeah. I'm just stepping in because I'm looking for Pete. I'm just going to have a quick look.
I'm here.
Good. Pete, would you like to read next?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
I'm Piet Nieuwland. I'm in Whangarei in northern Aotearoa. I'll be reading in Dutch and English. Landing. Na de signe van aanzichtkaarten in de taal der wind is de aarde donker, zoet en vochtig en ben ik gehuld in storm. Thuis is kleur van granaatappels, boomgaarden, baastenvol, gele pezieken, dichte bossen, pasrode tamarillo's met zwart zaad en zachte, rijpe wegengronden. De smaak van dikke zwarte koffie smelt weg in een laat regenbui. De grijze riege daalt af aan de eiders in verwomde banen binnendringen in het geheugen van ons hart en curven van vruchtbaarheid, met woorden kennen van toekomstige mannen en stormgordijnen op een natte nacht, vochtig onder lakens, waar er ruimte is voor iedereen. After decades of postcards in the language of the wind, earth is dark, sweet, moist, and I am cloaked in hurricane. Home is the colour of pomegranate, groves of yellow peach bursting. Dense violet red tamarillos pitted black in soft, ripe fig territories. Taste of thick black coffee melt in a late downpour. Egreta matuku descend from horizons of awkward lines, entering our heart's memory and fertility curves with signals from future moons and storm surfaces on a wet night, humid under sheets, where there is room for everybody. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Pete. That was great. Really wonderful set of readers. I'm going to ask if Vaughan would like to step in now and share your story as well here at the end, Vaughan.
Tēnā koutou katoa anō, aroha ato mo te kaore he imera. We just suddenly had a internet shortage here, outage here, so I lost reception. Ko Vaughan Rapatahana taku ingoa, te ati awa, ngāti te whiti. Me toru na kāinga I toru na whenua aho. So I'm Vaughan Rapatahana, my iwi is te ati awa, my hapu is Ngāti Te Whiti. I have homes in 3 countries. I'm talking to you now from Hong Kong, where I live in Tin Soi Wai. I'm a Hong Kong permanent resident. I speak reasonable Cantonese and Mandarin because I used to live in China. On Tuesday, my wife and I will be back in the Philippines, where we have a home. I'm a Balikbayan status there. And I was born and bred in Aotearoa, born in Pātea. My first language is Te Reo Māori. I speak Tagalog as well because that's one of the main languages in this household. Without further ado, and now I'm back online, and hopefully stay that way. Taku haerenga. I always had trouble with the English language. Too many inane grammar tenants and insane orthography. Too much candidacy among a sesquipedalian kupu. I struggle ki te tuhi inaine in this, the most rapacious of tongues, as it ka whakamomoka, a ka whakataureka ava arero. Te mangai o te linguicism tēnei reo, hei kei patu nui. Hei o, ka tui aho I te reo Māori te wā katoa, taku reo pono. Engari, ka tino tui aho mo na mangai o te reo Ingarihi. No te mea e mohio ana aho mo te rato moni uranga tino nui. IELTS, na poka poka kaupapa EFL, na kai ako reo Pākehā me na utu kai mahi rawaka I tawhaki. Kia tupatu I tēnei mangai takirua. Ka huri aho ki te reo Ingarihi. So I'll read that now in English. So taku haerenga is my journey. I always had trouble with the English language. Too many inane grammar tenants and insane orthography. Too much candidacy amongst its sesquipedalian words. I struggle now to write in this, the most rapacious of tongues, as it stalks, it subjugates other tongues. This language is the agent of linguicism, a big killer. So, I will write in the Māori language all the time, my true language. Yet, I will write about the agencies of the English language, because I know about their massive earnings, IELTS, EFL textbooks, English language teachers, and the ample overseas salaries. Be careful of this double agent. And at the stage, I'll say, tēnā koe mō tēnei kōwhiringa, Michelle. Thank you very much for the opportunity to have participated in this delightful publication. It's a very meaningful, very important book, which is what I said, reiterated at the beginning. And tēnā koutou katoa mō nā tangata o tēnei rā, mō tō āwhina tēnei rā. Thank you for your help. Thank you for all reading today.
Thank you, Vaughan. Kia ora. And yes, I think a round of applause to everyone. Thank you all so much for participating. I hope the viewers who have heard these stories really enjoyed them as well. I do think I loved all of your introductions as well, because I feel like, you know, we all feel the pressure of this world that we live in today, and the audacious attacks on liberties and heritage and language. So everything that you all said in this session today, everything that you say in the book and elsewhere is incredibly powerful and meaningful. And I really appreciate it that we've all gathered here in the book, but also that we get to see each other and share this kind of a reading. I feel like it's really meaningful. So thank you very much again. Thank you, Vaughan. Yes, I don't know if you want to say any last words, but again, big round of applause to everyone.